Good evening, good evening, good evening, party people, party people. Good evening, good evening, good evening, party people. I don't know what happened earlier, but we gonna try this again. We gonna really, really try this one more time. You are now rocking with the best, Big Dyson Team Guardian. Annette, I see you in the building. You're Annette. Them people was watching. I think them people hit me earlier. I'm not talking about nobody on YouTube. I'm talking about YouTube. Me, shout out to Phoenix Blaze for pulling up. Shout out to Dog Soldier for pulling up earlier because we was having a conversation about something that was real serious right now that impacts everybody in America. All I know is when Dog came up and Phoenix came up, we started talking about the situation right now with the government not working. So I was talking about how everything is just open and how it's so dangerous right now for citizens and Americans and matter of fact, people across the whole world. It doesn't have nothing to do with just Americans. It has something to do with people. Because think about it, it's people in America that's upset with other countries, but America, we have so many countries that's upset with us. And the crazy part about it is, I wasn't even really thinking about it like that, but people ain't talking about it like the government. If the government is not working, the CIA, the FBI, um, other bureaucracies that's involved with the government, if they're not working, who's protecting us right now? This is a very strong conversation that people need to have. Like if the government is not working right now, who is protecting our borders? Who's protecting our cyber crisis that could happen? Who's protecting our food supplies? Who's protecting our water? I just heard them saying something about they was about to dump some type of radioactive garbage, if I'm not mistaken, in the Hudson River. You know what I'm saying? And then I started thinking about it. I said, somebody from an Israeli company literally said that if the government didn't make Donald Trump denounce his presidency, that they were going to send a cyber attack that was going to put everybody's credit score above average. Angie, baby, they got us earlier, Angie. That I don't know. That was I don't know how the fuck that happened. All I know is I was talking, and then it just kicked off. It just kicked me off the show. It took like it wouldn't let me. I don't know what happened. I still can't identify what happened. All I know is it kicked me off the show. Like I said, shout out to Phoenix Blaze, Dog Soldier. They was up here holding it down, talking about the same thing as far as the preparation and everything. And they just kicked me off the show. Hey Keisha, my baby is in the building. They just kicked me off the show. Like I don't know what the fuck happened. The shit just kicked me off the show. And when I tried to go load back up on my StreamYard, when I went into my search bar, they made it seem like StreamYard was something that didn't exist, something I've never logged on to. It wasn't even in my history. So that shit kind of had me kind of spooked out. And I called Dog about that. I'm like, yo, Dog, did you end the live earlier? He was like, nah, I didn't end the live. Phoenix Blaze didn't end the live. This is the craziest part. I watched, they let me check the show out to certain parts. And when Dog was speaking and he broke out, and then Phoenix was speaking, and then she went to broke out, YouTube ended the live. I have never seen anything like that happen because if you have your StreamYard on, pay attention. If your StreamYard is on and you're just broadcasting through YouTube, if you don't press the end button, it's still going to keep going. It's still going to keep going. And for some reason, YouTube ended my live. I don't get it. I really don't get that. I don't get that conversation. But I know one thing. Instead of worrying about who's arguing or who's sleeping with who or who's not real or who's fake, what we need to be paying attention to is what if one of these terrorist groups what? Think about it. Like first of all, the United States got beef with a lot of people, man. They seem like they don't have beef, but Russia and the United States have been not been eye to eye for years. They have been cordial with each other, but they are not eye to eye. Russia and China has not been eye to eye for years. And that's it, yo. It's the topic, Dice. It was the topic. Think about it. United States and Japan has not been eye to eye for years. And then the reason why they decided to just, how could I say, um be cordial with each other is because it seems like every weapon of mass destruction that we have, Russia has. Every mass destruction what we have, China has. Now I don't know, Kills 22 salute, beloved. I don't really know, but if I'm not mistaken, the Israeli government also has certain weapons and missiles of mass destruction also. So I think the reason why people is just sitting here going, yo, you know what? We're not going to argue with each other. We don't want to say the wrong thing, or we don't want to push each other over the button, is because think about it. If they have another war, if they have another war pertaining to this, it's going to be dangerous. Kevin Jones, I appreciate you, beloved, for that super chat. If we don't pay attention to what's going on, something bad is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. Something bad is really going to happen, y'all. I know people not really paying attention to what's going on, but this is a very, very serious topic. This is a very, very, very serious topic, y'all. This is not nothing to be playing with. I mean, all jokes aside, if they're talking about war and they're talking about going at each other through cyber wars, first of all, our computers, first of all, pay attention. Everything that we have now is based on, what up, Liddy? I see you in the building. Everything that we have now is based on computer. Your debit card, um, your credit cards, your identification cards that you may have to use pertaining to badges to get in and out of your building if you work for certain companies. Mm. And you want to hear something funny? Angie said, "Yo, Dice, that's been the plan. That's been the plan. Have you seen the agenda for 2030? And you want to hear something funny? You want to hear something funny? Angie is 100% right, because they're making it seem like in 2030, they're making it seem like everything is supposed to be coming to an end. I don't get what's going on right now, y'all. I really don't get what's going on right now. It's like it's becoming very, very, well, I'm kind of worried myself. I'm not going to front. But see, this is the part that I'm thinking about. For years, I've heard about all these militias. Like, they have militias in Virginia. They have militias in Louisiana. They have militias in a lot of these countries where they have people living off the grid. That's a fact. They have people living off the grid. I remember when I seen this video. I seen this video of this Caucasian militia group. Now check this out. The Caucasian militia group said that they were prepared for the war, the race war that they said that they know is coming. Pay attention now. They said that there is a race war that's coming. So they got their children. I'm talking about, yo, it was 5-year-old, 7-year-old, little babies in the middle of the war operating fully automatic machine guns. They're teaching these babies how to make bombs. They're teaching these babies, they're preparing them for war. And the sad part about it is they're not even letting these children have childhood, video games, going to school. It's totally against any race mixing. It's to These militias are totally against any race mixing. So they feel as though if you are not white, they don't want you involved with them, y'all. They don't want you involved. Annette said, I know if you can get a gun license, you better get some power and protect yourself and yours by any means. But you want to hear some funny shit in that? It's people that have guns, right? Pay attention. It's people that have guns and won't use them. And won't even use them shits. And they won't even use them shits. That's why I said to myself, I'm sitting here wondering about all these people, and they're not preparing. They're not preparing what's going on. They're not preparing what's going on. They're not even preparing for the war that's actually coming. They're not preparing for the war that's actually coming. Mr. Hyde, your content said he's coming from, if I'm not mistaken, that's Canada, and he's saying peace. So shout out to Mr. Hyde, your content. You know what I'm saying, for pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Schools don't even teach truth though. It's indoctrination, and that's a cold-blooded fact. But see, like Angie said earlier, pay attention to this. This is really really deep. For the people from foreign across seas that said that they are gonna hack our computer systems. Think about it. They said they're gonna hack our computer systems, and they said all Americans are gonna have a credit score over $800. Do you understand what type of economical collapse that we'll have in the United States if that goes on? I mean, I want y'all to pay attention. Do you know what type of economical disaster that would be to the United States? I'm not hating or nothing like that. You dig what I'm saying? But like Angie said, just like Keith, like it's certain people that have bust their ass for so long to build up their credit scores, and then for other people that have continuously disregarded even keeping a credit score, even paying back a credit card debt, even paying back a loan. Like, do you know what type of war that'll start in the United States amongst us? Like, do you know what type of shit that should start, y'all? For instance, it's just like the situation with the projects. Think about it. Same thing with the projects. Matter of fact, the projects all over the world. When you think about the projects, I'm gonna use Brooklyn for example. You think about the projects. It was always called the projects. And as when I was younger, I never understood the whole terminology of the projects. Like when we went to school and they told us that, we're going to have a science project fair. Pay attention to that. They said we're going to have a science project, meaning you're going to put certain things together to see what productivity it could create. Now, pay attention. In the projects, this is the crazy part. Say 65% are on Section 8. Pay attention. 65%, say 65% are on Section 8. There's some deep shit. 65% are on Section 8. Then you put another 20% of people that go to work every day. Pay attention to this. 65% Section 8, 20 more percent of people that go to work every day. So that's 85% right there. The majority is 65%, like they said, are on welfare, whatever you want to call it, public assistance. And then you have 20% that goes to work, right? 20% that goes to work every day, that gets up, go to work every day, bust their ass, come home to the same environment, the same conditions of the projects. And then we have 15% that they left for senior citizens. And that said, if you look at it, Dice, the layout of a project building, it looks like a prison. And shout out to my man St. Laz. If y'all not subscribed, go subscribe to St. Laz. If you pay attention to when he does his shows, if you pay attention to the top of the projects, y'all, if you pay attention to the top of the projects, can anybody tell me what it looks like? Does anybody in here right now, can y'all tell me what the top of the projects look like? This some deep shit. This some deep shit. This is some deep shit. I just want to know if y'all understand what the top of the projects looks like. See if y'all know. Let me see if y'all know what's going on. Liddy said, yo, I'm ready knowing, Dice. Let me see if y'all know what the top of the projects, what the projects look like? The top of the projects looks like the barrels on guns. If you think I'm joking, get an aerial view of the top of the projects. Get an aerial view of the top of the projects, ladies and gentlemen. Get an aerial view of the top of the projects, and you are going to go, wow. You are going to go, wow. I'm talking about if you get an aerial view of the top of the projects, I promise you, it will have you mind blown. Hey, Holly, how you doing tonight, girl? Appreciate you for pulling up in the BUILDING. Holly, I'm talking to the people about what's going on right now with the government not actually being operative, meaning they're not working. Meaning they're not working. See, me, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a bigger plot because if you pay attention, this is all implements for martial law. This is all implemented for martial law to be taken into effect. My man Hide Your Content says, he said the project was built for veterans coming home from World War II. It wasn't built for Black and Latino people. No, that's not true. That's not true, my guy. That I personally know is not true. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I can't knock you for what you believe. The projects was actually put together in format to see if, let's get it right, because when the projects originally was put together, the projects were for middle class Caucasian people. See, a lot of people don't know the truth. A lot of people don't know the truth. I'm gonna school you right quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna treat you like you know troll because somebody may have misinformed you. I'm gonna give you some real content. The beginning of the projects were for middle class and upper class Caucasian people. Pay attention. Then when they did the whole migrant thing with Russians and some people from Italy, this is what the projects was originally designed for. It was something like what they wanted to make it seem like co-ops. But then because of discriminational laws, pay attention. People of color, like you said, Hispanic, Black people, they started feeling offended because the how could you say the application process? It seemed like it was the application process seemed like it was put into play for minorities not to be welcome. So you do have some truth in what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? You you know he says middle class white veterans. Well, we say middle class white people. So make a long story short, um Holly said, I thought that the projects, she said, I thought that the projects were to destroy Black families. Nope. Nope, 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 no, no. It actually, believe it or not, Holly, it was put into play because it was like a bet. Hoover and them, you got to understand, this goes back to Hoover and them and Eisenhower and them. You got to understand, they felt as though that unfortunately, minorities, Latin and Black people weren't civilized enough, if I worded that correctly. They felt as though that we weren't civilized enough to live in certain areas. Now, pay attention. If you watch the show Good Times, if you watch the show Good Times, they lived in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Watching the asphalt grow. But if you look at the outside scene of Good Times, the projects were actually beautiful. Word up. Annette said, you know what, Dice? She said, it was. My family was one of the first Hispanics to move into Foster Projects. Shout out to Foster Projects in Harlem. These is all facts. You understand what I'm saying to you? See, they made it seem like we wasn't. They made it seem like we wasn't important enough, or we wasn't mindful enough to interact like human beings. They made it seem like Hispanics and Black people, we were nothing but savages. All we did was kill and rob and steal. And then this is why they did the 20% increment of people if you had a certain job, because you got to fail to realize the hospital jobs, the sanitation jobs, the construction jobs, they were putting people into the bracket of middle class and upper class pertaining to what they were making. Holly said, Dice, but it seems like the Black fathers left in droves, leaving behind single mothers. All right, let me get you right. Let me give you some. I'm gonna give you some game on that. I'm gonna give you some game on that, sis. Holly, I'm gonna give you some game on that. I'm glad you said that. Pay attention. Holly said, quote unquote, she said, yo, Dice, but it seems like the black fathers left in droves behind, leaving single black mothers alone. Well, let me put you on to something. No, I gotta give you the game. I gotta give you game. I gotta give you game because you here to get it. If you here to get it, I'm gonna give it to you. If you here to get it, I'm gonna give it to you. Pay attention to this. They told the mothers, they told Hispanic mothers, they told black mothers, and they also told white mothers this. They said, this is what we're gonna do. They said, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you the opportunity to have your own place, your own apartment, your own sense of independence. But it's only one catch. Does anybody know what that one catch was? Does anybody know what that one catch was? If y'all do, put it in the chat. Grown folks conversation. Do anybody know what that one stipulation was? Heard the Met said, whether you were married or not, you could not have a man in the household. Understand? It wasn't whether you were married or whether y'all were a cold-blooded great family. When everything was put together for the dynamics for us to separate, the government did that, Holly. The government did that. The government said, yo, check this out. We'll give you the home. We'll even give you a subsidy every month pertaining to your food, pertaining to certain things you may want to buy, because they said we're going to give you food stamps. We're going to give you cash stipends also. But you cannot have no man living with you. See, the government says, now y'all are married to us. The government said, y'all are married to us. So check this out. This is where you see all the situations when you see, and this goes on to this day, to this very part in age, to this time right now. You can notice that a young lady, if she has children, pay attention, she can go into a shelter. All right, let me give y'all some work now. If a young woman or a woman has children, she can go into a shelter and she is automatically eligible for occupancy in shelter because of her children. But if the man is involved, see, this is what it is. They even had shelters in New York. They had one in East New York. They had one in Harlem where families could go to shelters together. Pay attention, y'all. Y'all ready for this? This was when it got real creepy. They say, you know what? You don't want to leave your man. You want to be loyal to your man. This is what we're going to do. Both of y'all are going to be in the shelter. Both of y'all are going to be eligible for apartments. But now both of y'all have to go to work every day. Now, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to sound funny. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, especially a black woman, Hispanic woman, white woman, chocolate woman, orange woman, banana woman. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but you got to pay attention to something. And the ladies in the chat, y'all got to deal with this the realest way it can. If you don't have no economic background, if you don't have no finances coming in, and the government tells you, check this out, you can have an apartment or you can be homeless. If you have children, you're going to pick that apartment over everything. If you agree, if I'm telling the truth, ladies, put a dice cube up. If the government says to you, check this out, we have shelter for you, and we have shelter for that child, but you can't take that nigga with you. Now pay attention. Like he said, that's when child support came into effect. When child support was paid, no matter how much, social services only gave that woman $50. Pay attention. This is when all that shit came into play. This is sad, but it's so much of the truth. Now think about this, ladies. You have a child, so you have two children, etc., and you in love with your man. But unfortunately, y'all don't have nowhere to lay y'all head and rest. The government says, I have a plan. They said, yo, I have houses just for y'all, brand new spots just for y'all and them babies. But your man can't go. Your man can't go. See, this is what started a lot of regret. This is what started a lot of problems between men and women, y'all. Men started saying, hold up, everything that we've been through, everything that we've been through, you're just going to forget about our history and the love we're supposed to share because the government says they have a home for you and our babies. Ain't that some deep shit? So this is where the strain came in relationships between especially families of minority. Yo, E, I see you in the building. Salute, beloved. See, this is where the strain came between minorities, and especially minorities. It was targeted for minorities. You know why it was targeted for minorities? Because people of upper echelons with money, they didn't have these problems, y'all. They didn't have these problems. Man, just think about that. Just think about that, Holly. You and your man been together for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Y'all have beautiful children, but y'all have nowhere to go. Y'all have nowhere to go. Pay attention. It's raining outside. It's snowing outside. It's overexerted heat outside. See, a woman, y'all have that protective nature. Y'all have that protective nature. Y'all gonna be that protective of all your cubs. And see, the saddest part, and ladies, I want y'all to tell the truth. If I'm telling the truth, put the dice cubes up in there. If you have a choice between choosing your man or your children, who you gonna choose? Now pay attention to what I said before you say yes or no. If they tell you, quote unquote, we are going to take you and your babies out of the street. We're going to give you and your babies health care, food, rental assurance, but you got to get rid of that man. I want every woman in here to tell me who y'all going to choose. Are y'all going to choose that man? Let's be real now. Are y'all going to choose that man or y'all going to choose your motherfucking children? Huh? Think about it. Now, see, this right here also developed, how could I say this? This also developed a certain, how could I say, cockiness to some women. A cockiness to some women. Pay attention. You see what Annette said? My kids, duh. You see what Holly said? My kids, exactly, Dice. Seven, I see you, sis. Love your heart. You all right? You doing good? Appreciate you for popping up in the building. We just talking about the situation right now with the government not working. Yo, guys, see you in the building. We just talking about how everything started. Think about that, y'all. And you can't knock no woman for that. Most hated, I see you in the building. Salute, beloved. Make sure y'all hitting that like button and share out this great content. You dig what I'm saying? Pay attention to this, y'all. You can't get mad at your woman if your woman says, yo, check this out. I know you may be in the street, baby, but our babies ain't gonna be in the street. Our babies ain't gonna be in the street. Now, hold on. It's another choice the women had too. Now, check this out. This one, it got real creepy. This one, they threw the curveball at our sisters. This is when they threw the curveball at the ladies. This is when they really broke our hearts and broke our families apart. They say, yo, check this out. You want to be loyal to that nigga? Oh, you love him? You love him, right? Well, put them kids in the foster care and go be with them. If you love that man so much where you're going to put your dire loyalty to the relationship that you and him have, turn your children over to us right now, and we will put them in foster care. We will put them in homes of people that don't know them. We will put them up for adoption. Now, let me explain something to you. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm not going to sit here and tell no lies. I would look at a woman less. I would look at my woman less if she chose me and put her baby in the harms of some place that she don't know. If you sold, that's like telling your children, yo, you know what? You're telling your babies, I'm never gonna see you again. I'm never gonna see you again because I love daddy. I'm never gonna be able to watch you grow. I'm never gonna be able to love you no more. We're never gonna have the relationship that we have because I love your father. See, the government, them motherfuckers ain't playing with no, they not playing fair, y'all. They not playing fucking fair. They know what to do and how to do that shit and how to manipulate situations. They know how to manipulate that shit. Pay attention. They say, yo, you want to be, yo, check this out. If you want to be loyal to that nigga, you love him that much, we getting them babies. Or you can keep them babies and we gonna give you some place to stay. And we gonna give you some place to stay. And we gonna give you rent. And we gonna give you money. And we're gonna give you clothing. The choice should be obvious, y'all. The choice should be obvious. If it was a man and they told a man, they said, yo, check this out. I got a place for you to stay. I got a place for your children to stay. But you got to get rid of that woman. You got to get rid of that woman. Now, you want to hear some funny shit? The majority of men say, fuck that. Me and my baby going to do it ourselves. Me and our babies, me and my woman and our babies are going to just fend for ourselves. Men like, I'm not going to separate from my baby. I'm not going to separate from my woman. But then the government steps in also. Pay attention. Because if you're homeless, damn, this shit gets deep. If you are homeless, right, and you don't have stable housing for your children, now Child Protective Services gets involved. Oops. Now Child Protective Services gets involved. So no matter if you're choosing loyalty and love, the system is coming to take your children away from you because you are now deemed as bad parents. That makes sense? Did that make sense, y'all? The government is dangerous. That's why I say right now, I don't know if this is a plan right now because they have the, like they said, the government hasn't been working. The government of the United States of America, the government has not been active for days now. FBI, CIA. So all the terrorist threats that's coming towards the United States, do you think that shit just stopped because they no longer are operating? Hell no. Hell no. That means that the terroristic threats are now becoming, they're gonna be coming in groves. They're gonna be coming from every angle. Cyber warfare, contamination of our food, contamination of our water. Do you know what type of shit that's? Do you know what type of shit that's gonna be? But nobody wants to talk about that. They'd rather talk about whose channel got struck or who's sleeping with who or who did with what or what. No, it's shit that we need to be talking about because first of all, this is about to be martial law. Dog Soldier, I see you in the building. We back, dog. Like I called you and tell you, we back. I don't know what happened earlier, but we back. This is what you call martial law. Are you prepared for it? All right, cool. Are you prepared to go to war with all these threatening entities that's coming for the United States of America? Because you fail to realize if you are an American, if you live in the United States of America, pay attention. Fuck the fact that you don't have no money to go to one of these foreign countries, or fuck the fact you don't go back to Africa or Egypt or Sudan or Jerusalem, etc., etc. Do you know you're marked as enemies also? Do you know that? Think about that. If you are a American, as we are deemed, with our identification and as far as where we live, we're enemies also. Pay attention why we're enemies also. Because so many countries, from Cuba, the Israeli companies, Turkey, Russia, China, all of them are saying, hold up, how could these people live in the United States of America and just turn their cheek and turn their head to all the destruction and bad and evil things that allegedly the government is responsible for, like war? Think about that shit. Do you know how many people are looking at Americans like we are enemies of theirs also, because they don't even understand that we are also trapped in a society also? Y'all not paying attention. See, this is the deepest part about this whole situation. If the government is not protecting us from foreign threat, we're going to have to learn how to protect ourselves. Like me and Dog was talking about earlier, a lot of people ain't never seen nobody die. A lot of people have never saw anybody die. I ain't talking about heard somebody or walk down a block and it's a sheet on somebody. No, saw somebody's soul and life leave their body. A lot of people, like they said, have firearms and guns and won't even bust them shits. I know niggas that was robbed that had guns on them. I can't make this shit. I know people that were robbed and they had pistols on them. But the fear in their soul was more overwhelming of the person that was robbing them, instead of them logically pulling their hammer and letting that shit go. My man Medicated Wookie in the building. He popped up. I ain't see him. Medicated in here. I thought I seen Dog shout him out. Well, if he in here, shout out to my man Medicated. Think about that, y'all. People always talking that gangster shit. What if you walking down the street, motherfucker, blow a nigga? Just think about that. What if the militias of Iran just pop up in New York City? What if the militias from China just pop up in New York City? What if the militias from Russia? Yo, pay attention to what I'm saying before you answer this question. These militias that are popping up, if they was to pop up, remember they're trained and prepared to die. They're trained to kill and eliminate anything that opposes what they believe in. And if they came all the way from across seas to foreign land and soil, this means they are ready to die for what they believe in. Are we ready? Ready? Are we really ready for that? Are we really ready for that? Me? I'm not. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie. As far as the violent part about it, yeah, I'm ready for that. As far as the mental anguish of it, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be walking around paranoid. I'm not ready to be walking around saying that anybody of a different religion or anybody from a different country, if I see somebody from Pakistan or if I see somebody from Sudan or if I see somebody from India, et cetera, I don't want to be walking around with that paranoid state saying, is this person trying to hurt me because they're here? Or should I just hurt this person because I'm in fear? Maybe they might be part of some militia. Yo, FTC Vice, I see you, boy. Think about this shit, y'all. I'm not ready for that shit. I don't know about y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit right here is something that should be addressed and should be really paid attention to. And it's something that should need to be done about this shit, y'all. Like all jokes aside, man, like fuck all that joking and playing and all that hee hee ha ha shit. It's people in other countries that have marked us as Americans and the United States of America as their number one enemy, y'all. Like I told you earlier, China, them niggas got a motherfucking mechanical mosquito. And then if y'all not heard about it, I said this earlier, something that just came from nowhere out the blue called the kissing bug is now in the United States of America. And they say if this bug bites you, it's no ifs, ands, or but. You gonna die. No ifs, ands, or but. You're leaving here. You're leaving here. Like the government, that's who protects us. You know, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, that's all government faculties. So you mean to tell me if Israel says we want to go to war right now, 8:28 p.m., we want to go to war. Let's start attacking the United States with our missiles and everything. What we going to do, y'all? Now, if we don't have the government, if we don't have the armed services that is majority makes up the government to help defend us or ward off all these intruders, that means we got to do it, y'all. That means we are responsible for protecting ourselves and our country. Now, me personally, do I agree with the things that America has done? Do I agree with the tactics that America has used for all these years against people? Nah, nah. Hold on, dog. Let me see it. Oh yeah, I did the show on that, dog. I did the show on that. People fail to realize. Remember, dog, I did the show when the seven suns appeared in China, and what they try to say, it was lighting. They said it was lighting. They said it was lighting, y'all. They said it was a reflection of light that made it appear to be seven suns. Pure bullshit. Pure bullshit, y'all. Pure bullshit. But then again, Operation Blue Pill. Pay attention to this. Operation Blue Pill. Shout out to my man. I think for myself that was talking about this earlier. What if this is all part of an illusion to mentally put us in fear? Like, if I don't know if y'all just seen this on Instagram. I can't make this shit up. If y'all just, I don't know if y'all seen this on Instagram. It was a lady that was in Houston, Texas, that showed an image that appeared. It seemed like a warrior, a Viking that stood all the way up to the highest of the clouds, and it was like a bunch of smoke and a bunch of lighting around it. And the shit was moving. The shit was standing like it was upset and was ready to go to war, and his arms was folded and his head was moving left to right, and it was all type of lights and everything soaring around this. And the lady stopped and said, yo, this is going on right now in Houston. What the hell is this? See, that's all part of that Operation Blue Pill. See, they said that they're going to start putting holograms. They're going to start putting holograms up in the world that's going to make people. That's it. Blue beam. That's a fact, dog. They said they're going to start putting holograms in the sky. Pay attention to this deep shit. They're going to start putting holograms in the sky. So if this majority of people believe in Buddhism, they might see a Buddha. If this majority of people believe in Islam, they might see Allah. If this majority of people believes in Hindu, they might see whatever type of spirit or God that was supposed to be on top of that. Yo, this is all something to go against us. And I was talking to this lady because they pulled up. It was a car that was driving around in my neighborhood. I can't make this shit up. This car that was driving around in my neighborhood, and the car went to the neighbor's house and just pulled up in there, whatever. But the neighbor, I knew she was at work, so I was just paying attention because I'm like, yo, what are these people doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they driving around like that? So cool. They backed out of her yard. And then I noticed that they was coming straight towards my yard. They was coming straight towards my yard. So when they pulled up in my yard, it was a group of elders. It was a group of elders. It was three women and one man. Two women in the front, one man, one woman in the back. When they peeled up, the lady jumps out and was like, let's talk about Jesus. I said, I'm Muslim. And she said, that doesn't make a difference. I still want to talk about Jesus with you. And I said, respectfully, ma'am, that makes a whole bunch of a difference to me. And she said, why? And I said, let me explain something to you. I said, well, who do you believe in? She said, I believe in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. First mistake. She didn't say God. She said, I believe in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So then I told her, so you're a Christian? She was like, yes, sir. I said, so if you're a Christian, right? Tell me who Jesus worshiped. What religion did he believe in? What ideology did he believe in? A lot of people can't even answer that question. She looked at me like she wanted to fight. It's a cold-blooded fact. I told her, I said, do you know that Jesus Christ studied Islam? And she just looked at me like in disbelief. I said, do you know that Jesus Christ studied Islam? And she said, no, I never knew that. I said, well, I got some things to take care of. She just looked at me with a strange look, got in her car and pulled off. See, that's the part that gets me upset with some Christians. I'm not knocking people for what they believe in, but if Christianity came after Jesus Christ passed away, what did he idolize? What did he look up to? You understand? He said, my parents used to tell us about that every time the space shuttles went up and were named and told about weather patterns. There's so much stuff that's coming up now. Like he said, pertaining, they got a bunch of, what you call them? Astronauts. A big astronaut just did a live brief pressing the other day. Y'all could look this shit up if you think I'm joking. An astronaut, one of the big generals, said, we are finally going to go to the moon. We are finally going to get out of space. So if y'all saying today, because this speech was made a few days ago, if you saying today that y'all are finally going to go to outer space and y'all are finally going to land on the moon, what the fuck happened before? Pay attention when they said that they went to the moon before, because that shit was pure bullshit. They said they went to the moon before, but now they're saying this is the first time that they're going to the moon. Just like the dog Sputnik. This is some deep shit. Pay attention. Sputnik got all the way to 13, right? Do we start off counting 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20? Yo, what's up, man? God damn it, we got Big Ann up in the building. What up, beloved? Where you been, beloved? Glad to see you in the building, bruh. Big Ann is in the building, y'all. Mount Vernon raised himself, a.k.a. Big Ann is here. Let's talk about some real shit, y'all. Now, pay attention to this. If they supposedly went to the moon all these years ago, why are they saying now they're finally getting to the moon? Pay attention, like Sputnik. Remember, it was Sputnik 13. Do we start out 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8? No, we don't start out like that. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So pay attention. So if it was Sputnik 13 that was finally recognized and they just gave up after Sputnik 13, that means it was 12 attempts before the 13th that failed. Huh? It was 12 attempts. Don't worry about it, Mount Vernon. Put your gun back in your hand, too. I'm glad you back out here. I took everybody wrenches and came back. But, you was on a little hiatus. You said you was chilling away from YouTube, but I'm glad you back. But pay attention to what I'm saying, y'all. What happened to the first 12 attempts? What happened to the first 12 dogs that supposedly they sent out of space? See, because it was 13 attempts. And on the 13th attempt, they just got upset because they could not get through that firmament. They could not get through that actual firmament that Donald Trump is talking about building the $800 million biodome about right fucking now. Ain't that some shit, y'all? Ain't that some shit? Do you pay attention to everything that's going on now? Like with the ice age in Antarctica. For so many years, they said Antarctica was the end of the world and there was no type of civilization in Antarctica. These people doing a lot of research now. There's people that's what you call history and search buffs. They're taking out expeditions. They go into the Antarctica now. It's people saying that it's life beyond the Antarctica. They saying beyond the Antarctica is where the elites live at. See, it's people talking about shit now that people not paying attention to. They talking about the elites over there got so much money. They got so much money, and then they also saying that these people are living eternally. They're saying that they're not even aging. Can anybody tell me why? Because they're saying they're consuming a certain type of food that's making people live longer than they've ever lived. Can you tell me what this food is they're saying they're consuming? They saying that they consuming mermaid meat. They saying that they are consuming mermaid meat. Now pay attention to this. All over the world now, there are hundreds and hundreds of sightings. I'm not talking about computer glitches. I'm not talking about something with skepticism. I'm talking about direct pictures and videos of mermaids. In Jamaica, they have direct videos of mermaids, a host of them jumping in and out of the water, sitting up on the edge, gazing in the sun. But the minute they find out about human contact or laying video on them, they just disappear into the water. I did the show with the people that was fishermen. And when they was fishing on the side, they noticed that it was three spurts in the water that kept going with the boat, and it kept like screaming out this beautiful melodic siren. Pay attention. They always said that mermaids had a beautiful melodic siren, a beautiful melodic allure that would make people just want to go further and further out in the sea. They had a beautiful hypnotic sound that would make people just forget about anything other than being around mermaids. Now pay attention. This is why I feel as though this is happening. You notice they said mermaids now are killing a lot of fishermen, overturning a lot of boats, because they are now understanding that there are higher ups, allegedly, that are just out there searching and trying to capture them to feast on because of their flesh. You think you like a whitey. You think you might like a tilapia. You think you might like a porgy. You might like a red snapper. You might like some tuna. They say that motherfucking mermaid meat is spectacular. Keith said there's a place in Brooklyn, New York, called the Mermaid Meat Corporation. Whoa. Whoa. Pay attention to this type of shit that's going on, y'all. They not disguising this no more. They can't disguise this no more, because you fail to realize back in the days when they talked about certain things, like now all of a sudden with the UFOs and all these things with the UFOs. Remember back in the days, we ain't have these cell phones, y'all. We ain't have these cell phones that can automatically record everything. Remember, we got cell phones now that can take pictures. We got cell phones now that can take pictures and record. It ain't like back in the days where people had to have their cameras, where people had to, where they saw certain things in the sky and they said the minute they ran in the house for their cameras to get a picture, it was gone. It ain't like that now. All you got to do is pull that phone out and aim and record. And it all leads back down to the government. I want to know, why is the government, the United States of government, why they don't want to work right now? Does that make any motherfucking sense? Why are they leaving everything open for us to be attacked? Like seriously, why they don't care about our borders anymore? Why they don't care about our water no more with our fish that we have to consume? Why they don't care about our air no more? Why are they not even trying to fuck with the airspace no more? Why is the government continuously telling us that there's some type of fleet or ship that is headed towards Earth in a highly rapid speed, and they can't even tell you when this shit is going to get here? See, if you pay attention and you look this up on CNN, if you look up what the Pentagon is saying, the Pentagon, this is ain't no allegations. The Pentagon is telling you that they have been interacting with aliens forever. You never notice how all the TV shows like the Flintstones with Gazoo, I Dream of Jeannie, Small Wonder. You don't notice all the television shows they gave us, Monsters, where they showed a bunch of monsters interacting with children because the children are pure, and the monsters feel as though that the purity of the children wouldn't try to expose them. Pay attention. You remember the movie E.T., Extraterrestrial? But then again, some people will say that all these sightings are being recorded are part of the Blue Beam Project. But some people are saying the reason why the Blue Beam Project was put up and even brought into actual conversation is because they're trying to distract us from actually the truth. They don't want us to know everything that's above them skies or above them walls in Antarctica. We just had a situation where aliens were in a mall in Miami. Lola, I see you, sis. Remember this? They just said that we had a bunch of aliens that were in a mall. First of all, people are not talking about this no more. They just had a so-called invasion where a bunch of aliens were in a mall in Miami. Now, pay attention. This is the part that people don't want to talk about. And if you do your research, you can look it up and find out everything I'm telling you is accurate facts. When this so-called invasion of aliens came to that mall in Miami, they said all telecommunication devices went down. That meant security footage. That meant electronic bases that was around it. And they said for miles, all this shit just happened to malfunction when these so-called aliens were walking through this Miami mall. Now pay attention. After everything that happened with this so-called alien invasion, they said it was a bunch of high school students, a bunch of college students that just played a prank. First of all, RC Deuce, I see you in the building. What up, beloved? I don't see no kids having no power like they can just take over the whole lighting system in the mall and miles from north, east, west, and south. They said from a 5 to 10 mile radius, all type of communication malfunction. Certain shit just not. It seems like they're trying to show us something without. I think they're trying to spoon feed us with this bullshit. Like instead of just saying, "Yo, check this out. This is what's going on." We've been dealing with aliens for so long. We have used them for so long. Now it's to the fact where they want what they came for. They want what we promised them hundreds of years ago. The whole reptilian species, when they showed us V on TV, how they speak about the Queen of England and how they say the royal family, and that's how they said Princess Diana was unalive because she was about to expose them for the reptilian behavior that they said they had. They said that they were feasting on children and drinking blood and having ceremonies that she wanted to expose. That's why she left them. Lola says, so y'all think the only ones on the planet, they've been here. She said they've been here, y'all. They've been here. But they don't want us, they don't want us in tune. They want us to be naive and they just want us to be sitting back acting stupid. That's a fact. The royal family is a bunch of fucking lizards. See, I just talked about this. They just said that Princess Diana was going to expose all the wild ceremonies that they were having pertaining to children. This shit is not a joke, y'all. Holly said allegedly aliens cause pause people things, etc. Aliens could be, first of all, they say an alien. First of all, alien is just unknown to mankind how it even formed or how it exists. They got, first of all, they're talking about certain fish. See me, I don't trust no water. I can swim like a fish. Don't get it twisted. But I'm not going into no vessels trying to get to the bottom and the depth of water. Pay attention. They even showed you this man. Y'all don't remember the movie Black Panther? You don't remember Wakanda? You remember where all the people came from underwater? From underwater. Yo, my man Peoples, what up, boy? I see you in the building. Salute. You ain't paying attention to what they was doing, y'all? Everything is coming from under that fucking water. Everything. Large spaces of water. Pay attention. The biggest thing that can be controlled and hidden in plain sight is underwater. That's a fact. He said, you dubbed this. He said, Dice, unsuspectedly, you dubbed this. Guardians, facts. That's why I say this whole thing with the government, it's bigger than what they showing us. It's big. It's so much bigger than what they're showing us. I mean, come on, man. They looking at us like we idiots, man. I'm not stupid. You know what I'm saying? If it's a ball, if it's a ball. And if that shit is yellow, that shit got feathers, that shit could swim, it's a motherfucking duck. If the shit go quack quack, that shit is a motherfucking duck. People want to have these all type of, nah, that's not a duck. That's just something that resembles a duck. No, if that shit swim, if that shit go quack quack, if it got feathers and it got a beak, that shit is a duck. That's why I tell people the things that we can't be talking about on YouTube. Some people choose not to talk about. I do. I choose to talk about the things that don't want to be talked about. Like when I started this show earlier, and how just mysteriously I was just kicked out of my boot. I was kicked out of my show, and my phone would not allow me to even load back up on StreamYard. It seemed like the shit was affecting the Wi-Fi and everything. And then, ironically, the show ended itself. Shout out to Dog Soldier and Phoenix Blaze for coming up holding it down for me. See, it's shit that I don't be. Yo, it's shit that they don't want to talk about. That fuck it. Even if they gonna kill me, I'm gonna talk about it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because I'm not afraid to die. I'm in peace. I'm in peace. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not one of them people that's afraid to die. Nah, I done did it all. I done seen it all. So certain things, nah, that don't really worry me. Dog said, I don't care, man. He said, yo, check this out, guys. He said, I don't care what it is. They're gonna have to show me because I ain't giving them nothing. I know that's right, dog. I know that's right, beloved. He said, I'm not giving them nothing, man. Fuck them all. But we have to pay attention to what's really going on instead of being distracted, man. Yeah, Keith said that earlier about the Rockefellers. Lola just said that. She said them people is lizards too. And see, that's why I be looking at some of the people or some of the things that be going on YouTube. Because I be thinking, I know I be thinking too much, but I be thinking it's all part of a distraction. I mean, I think it's just people that are rather just distract us from things that we should be paying attention to. And it's just so sad because it seems like a group of individuals that has nothing to do with color. I'm talking about morale right now. A group of individuals seem to lack morale, seem to lack etiquette, seem to lack intelligence. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's the reason why YouTube promotes so much ignorance. It's the reason why YouTube, in my opinion, promotes so much disrespect because it's a distraction. I really, really feel it's all a distraction, y'all. It's just something that if they said if we just if we keep the goddamn porch monkeys doing the buffoonery and doing the yes or boss and the Uncle Tom and shit, you know what I'm saying? The people that's trying to really, really educate people and enlighten people about what's going on, they won't be heard. They won't be put into big algorithms. They won't be put in the big algorithms. See, today is the age of the Aquarius, like they've been saying, y'all. If y'all ain't got no sense, y'all about to get left behind. If y'all don't got no knowledge of self, I pray that y'all all find it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because all we got is us. That's a cold-blooded fact. All we got is us, y'all. And like I said, I wasn't going to take up too much of y'all time. I just wanted to do a part 2 on the show earlier. If you ain't see the show earlier, it's titled, We All at Risk. Everything, through our children, through how they're treating parents now for being parents. Pay attention. You can't even discipline your child now. You put your hands on your child and the wrong person hears that, the police are coming to arrest you. They're teaching our children now. You check this out. Your parents have no more respect. If they put their hands on you, call us and we will lock you up. They do not have the right to discipline you. First of all, every parent has the right to discipline their child. No parent has the right to beat their child. No parent has the right to abuse their child. But there are certain times when children are supposed to be disciplined. And they're only supposed to be disciplined by the parents. Because my mother was the type, yo, don't put your hands on my son. My mother said, if he did something wrong or he did something to disrespect you, here's my number. I will deal with it. But do not put your hands on my child. See, that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to have our children raise themselves. These cell phones, a lot of these parents are giving these kids cell phones because they're no longer wanting to be parents. They're no longer wanting to be intrusive. Yo, what you doing? What you looking at? What did you learn in school today? See, back in the days when we was going to school, our teachers used to tell us, make sure after you do your homework, your parent signs it. Remember that? Remember that? My mother was, you finish your homework? Yeah, well, let me see it. Let me see it. We're going to go over this together. I'm not going to just sign nothing because, see, some parents would just say, well, you know what? Bring the paper here and let me sign it. They sitting at the table smoking, talking, drinking, bullshitting with their friends. They're not even looking at the equations or the problems that may have been solved that haven't been solved. They're just signing their John Hancock on the paper. And while they're signing their John Hancock on the paper, check this out. When that homework goes back to school and the teacher goes over that school and evaluates some answers and then sees the signature of the parent, yo, Maybach, I see you in the building. Salute, beloved. Think about this. This was all crazy. Like, hold on. You mean to tell me I gave your child 10 words to spell, and I gave your child another homework assignment to make sure every one of them words that they spell they can use in a sentence to make sure that we understand that the child comprehends what is being taught in school. Now, check this out. If you tell your child, if you tell the child to spell the word teacher, man, you tell the child to spell the word bat, BAT. Then that child puts TAB, tab, and then the parent signs their name on that homework. That's neglect from the parent. My mother was looking over everything. My mother used to look at certain things, especially with my arithmetic, especially with my spelling. She was like, hold on, that's not how you spell that. Yes, it is, Ma. Go in there and get that dictionary I bought you. And then come back and tell me that. My mother was so, like I told y'all before, my mother used to buy me a dictionary for every birthday, every time like Christmas. My moms would buy dictionaries for nothing because she said anything that they're going to try to hide from you, they're going to try to hide from you in a book. If you don't understand, they got you. When I asked my mother certain things, what this means, she'd be like, what did I get you that library? What did I get you that dictionary for? What did I get you that dictionary for? Because see, they don't even want the parents today being attentive and correcting their children no more, y'all. They want the parents to just sit around, allow their kids to be controlled and raised by these video games and these television shows. They're letting these wrong role models instruct their children on how they're supposed to react and how they're supposed to be treated and how they're supposed to be treating each other and people. Like I said, this whole situation with the government just sitting back saying that they're not working, pay attention to everything that's going around, y'all, man. If it don't look right, pay attention to it. Do some investigating on it. If it don't even sound right, do some investigating on it. Because like I said, they're leaving us out here to fend for ourselves. Like Angie said earlier, they have an agenda. And some people saying that the world as what we know it will come to an end in 2030. So this is 2025, 2026, right around the corner, y'all. You understand? We in October. 2 months. You understand what I'm saying to you? November, December, January is 2026. So if that's the case, we have 4 years to catch up, or 4 years to pay attention, or 4 years to prepare for what they're trying to pull over our eyes. Well, I appreciate all y'all good people for pulling up. Y'all already know how it rock. Like I said, I was going to do a part 2 on the show that I did earlier. And I'm glad y'all came out again to hear what's going on because we need this. You see what my man Maybach said? He said it's called the Agenda of 2030. Shout out to Angie, baby. She said that also. They got something planned for us, y'all. And we need to be more informative and pay attention to what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? Like I said, all the buffoonery, the hollering, the hipping, and all y'all. Like I said, all that junking and jiving and that buffoonery and that yassa boss and all that bullshit that they trying to get us into. Nah, we got to be a little more on point right now, y'all. if we're not gonna be on point for us, we got to be on point for our children. Because if like Whitney Houston, George Benson, everybody said it, y'all. I believe the children of the future. You dig it? I really believe the children of the future, man. Appreciate you, Annette. You know, like I said, I try to come in and do a little great content. You know, I shoot and make a little jokes every now and then, but I'm not feeding all that goofy shit on YouTube. Like I said, I'm thinking about doing a show. I put it up on my post, y'all, and let me know if I should do it. If not, let me know if I shouldn't do it. But I'm thinking about doing a show, and the show is going to be called Why I Blocked You. But besides that, man, I'm trying to stay on point, try to give y'all some great content, man. And I appreciate all the grown folks and the great people that come through and support me. Like I said, I know the difference between ignorance and intelligence, and that's all we doing over here. So until y'all hear me again, another day alive, another day free. Like, why would I wake up trying to be somebody other than me, y'all? Peace.